Hello, my fabulous sixth graders. This is your favorite teacher, Mr. Jacobson, coming to you somewhere in LA, and we're looking forward to spending the next bit of time here with you. Today we're going to talk about Roman government and the Punic Wars. And this is a very good topic to discuss. I'm excited to be with you in this little short time we have to be together here. So let's begin. So we have the magistrates. So there's a few terms I want you to know. Magistrates were elected officials who were judges, managed finances, and organized games and festivals. You have the Senate, who advised city leaders and took control of the city's finances. You have assemblies, where patricians and plebeians who elected city leaders. And then you have tribunes, who elected officials could veto actions of other government officials. So good to know. So the magistrates were two consuls. Okay, originally they could only be patricians, led the government and army, and also judged court cases. Consuls were chosen by the assembly of centuries. There were two consuls so that no person became too strong. Okay, remember, Rome is all about keeping the power down. They don't want abuse of power. So if they have one consul, then that person can essentially rule for however long their term is allowed. But if they have two, then the two consuls have to work together, meaning and they will keep each other in check. Okay, consuls, they served for 1 year, and that gave them little chance to abuse their power, had power over all citizens, including officials. Each consul could veto the other. Veto means I forbid. And even today, the president has veto power. If he doesn't like something Congress is proposing, he can say veto, meaning I don't think that's good. I don't allow it. The Senate is a group of 300 men. They advise the consuls. Senators serve the government for life. Important to know that. If you were a senator for life in Rome. Mostly patricians, but over time plebeians also became senators. Eventually became too powerful. By 200 BC, they began proposing laws, holding debates, approving building programs, and took control over the city finances. So originally the Senate was only supposed to be an advisor to the consuls, but eventually they took power, because that's what happens. If you have people who are in a position for life, eventually their power is going to exceed and they're going to abuse it. Assemblies and tribunes. After the plebeian strike, as we talked about in our last webcast, the patricians feared their actions and gave them part in government. Plebeians were allowed to have their own body of representatives called the Council of the Plebes in 471 BC. Now, the Council of the plebes allowed, they could approve or reject laws, declare war, and elect magistrates for the common people. Originally, the Council of the Plebes was only a group that could make laws for the plebeians, for their own people, the common people. They couldn't make them for the patricians originally, but that's going to change because eventually the plebeians are going to grow and they're going to become more influential. So Roman citizens could take part in assemblies at all their adult lives. Tribunes served for 1 year, could veto the decisions of consuls and magistrates eventually. Eventually they got powerful and they could say veto to the consul as well, which gave them a place in government, power. So here we just have a quick diagram here. So you have, let's go with the magistrates. They ran the city's daily affairs, led the army, issued edicts, acted as judge and priest. Tribunes could veto officials' actions. So these people could say, we disagree. Now over here, the magistrates presided over the Senate. Senate could refuse to give magistrates money. So the Senate was originally supposed to counsel with the magistrates, but eventually the senators got more powerful, and then they started controlling finances, controlled foreign relations, reviewed proposed laws, and advised magistrates. Assemblies could reject laws approved by the Senate. Now, the assemblies and tribunes elected magistrates, approved laws, tried court cases and declared war. So, as you can see, these three things they're trying to check each other to make sure one doesn't get more powerful than the other. Plebeian progression. This is important. So, in 494 BC, the plebeians go on strike. Remember, they said, hey, we want to be part of the government. If you don't let us, we are going to set up our own. And so the patricians said, all right, we believe that you will try to break away, and we're going to give you what you want. So then they allowed them to have their own council of plebes, and that was in 471. So 494 to 471, that's when this huge debate came, and eventually they got their own council. In 455 BC, plebeians and patricians were allowed to marry. Big breakthrough, because before, if you were a plebeian, had to marry another plebeian. If you were a patrician, you were upper class, you had to marry someone else of the same class. In 300 BC, plebeians were allowed to become consuls. So then things are really getting interesting, because the plebeians are starting to now could be part of the magistrate. And then at 287 BC, consul of plebes were allowed to pass laws for all Romans, not just the commoners, but for all Romans. So you could kind of see the progression of the plebeians. It took a while, but eventually they got there. The 12 tables. All right, let's talk. So prior to the tables, prior to having 12 tables, Rome's laws were not written down. And since they weren't written down, plebeians felt like the judges, when they would judge them in court, were unfair because they didn't know their rights. They didn't know the laws, but the judges did. And they felt that that was a disadvantage. So the plebeians said, look, we need something to be more favorable and fair. So eventually the laws were carved on bronze tablets and placed in Rome's marketplace. So in the most crowded part of Rome, where everybody goes and everyone can be, they put up what's called the 12 tables, which were 12 bronze tablets of Roman laws that apply to everyone. So everybody knew their rights. The 12 tables became the basis of all future Roman laws. They also established the principle that all free citizens had the right to be treated equally. People were then innocent till proven guilty, and we even follow that today. Even today, that's the mantra of American justice system, that you are innocent until proven guilty. However, in some other countries, it's just the opposite. Places I believe like France you are guilty until you are proven innocent. So it's backwards. So here's an actual picture of what the 12 tables look like. They're in pretty bad shape if you can't tell, and there's not even 12 here. There's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 maybe 9 if we're lucky, not sure. And these were ripped out somehow, but these were the part of the 12 tables that were put up. The rule of law. So the idea that law should apply to all people, rich and poor, they're all subject to the law equally, and that all people should be treated the same way under the legal system. That is the idea of the rule of law. It's the idea that who cares if you're rich? Just because you're rich doesn't mean that you somehow don't have to follow this law. And just because you're rich doesn't mean that you somehow get a judge who's your friend. Okay? Everyone is equal under the law. That's very important to understand, because many civilizations prior to this, it was believed that people at the top of society had special privileges. They didn't have to obey the same laws or use the same courts as everyone else. So Rome, having the notion of the rule of law, is one of the key ideas that Rome gave the world. It is the very idea that America has been built on. As you can see, we have a picture here. This is Lady Justice. Okay? And there's something strange about Lady Justice. It's not that she has a sword. It's not that she has a scale. But look at her eyes. Something is covering her eyes. Why? Is it just because they got bored and they wanted to do that, or is there meaning behind it? Here's an actual picture of Lady Justice, and again, you see this here. Why did they do this to Lady Justice? What is the significance? Think about it. Now we're going to go into the Punic War. So Rome is starting to get pretty dang powerful around 300 BC. And they're going to start expanding. As you can see, they're already expanding. There's some of the purple area, and over here in the orange is Carthage. So I'm going to show you this map so you can just get an idea. Carthage is over here in North Africa. Rome is right here. And they're going to begin to fight. One, because they're trying to see who's going to control the western Mediterranean Sea. And two, it's going to be over a little piece of land. I say little, it's quite big actually, called Sicily. So let us begin. The Punic Wars, Carthaginians and Romans. Carthaginians were known for their elephants and using them as tactics in battle, and the Romans were known for their clean style of fighting, put into legions and broken up in their discipline and for discipline. So the first Punic War. Here's a picture if you want to follow it. You can see all that Carthage had conquered, including most of Sicily. They had colonies all over. So it began in 264 BC over control of Sicily between Carthage and Rome. Carthage already had colonies on Sicily, and Rome wanted to stop them from taking it over. Rome didn't want them to take it all over. So Romans realized that they needed to have a powerful navy in order to win against the Carthaginians. See, the Carthaginians, they were known for their powerful naval fleet. So Rome invades, in essence, Sicily. Carthaginians are like, wait, dude, we're already here. What are you doing? And the Rome's like, well, we're here too now, so tough. And so the Carthaginians actually beat them in the beginning because their naval power was so immense. So it took Rome, let's see, it started in 264 BC, and in 241 BC they finally beat them, mainly because they focused most of their supplies on building a naval fleet. Once Rome built a big naval fleet, they were in essence able to conquer their enemy. And when I say conquer, I mean to kick them out of Sicily. They didn't come to Carthage yet. So here's the Second Punic War. Violence between Rome and Carthage broke out, as we talked about in the first one. So soon, however, the Romans built a navy of their own and were able to defeat the Carthaginians. This is all from the First Punic War. Second Punic War. Okay, it's against actual Carthage and Rome themselves. So you have two great leaders. You have Hannibal and Scipio. Hannibal is the Carthaginian leader. He was known for his ability to strategize. He was very bold in some of his strategies. Anyway, Hannibal invades Rome and Italy, ravages Italy, destroys a lot of their land, and the Romans, they thought, you know what, if you're going to come to our place, we're going to go to yours. So while Hannibal is over in Italy, destroying the land and winning battles, the Romans went straight for their heart and went to Carthage in North Africa. So Scipio said, forget this then, we're going straight to the heart where you went to our heart. And they started raising havoc in their home territory. And because of that, Hannibal had to leave Italy to defend Carthage and their homeland. And so anyway, eventually though, the Carthaginians lost, and the Romans were victorious. And then after that, the war was over. However, after the huge losses of the Second Punic War, memories of all the losses and the dead remained in the Roman minds, and so they decided, you know what, we're going to make those Carthaginians pay. So they declared war a third time on Carthage, After that, they siege the city for 3 years, meaning they surround it, don't let anybody in, and they completely destroy the city. They even salt the grounds of the city and the land so no one could ever plant food or anything else ever again. So the Romans were extremely vicious in their retaliation to Carthage. But they became the rulers of the Mediterranean Sea at that point. All other major players were gone after the Carthaginians fell to them. So that's the end of our time. Go ahead and do your one-page summary. Make sure you give a full summary and that you cover everything that's mentioned in the webcast. Don't just fill one page, but complete the whole summary, and we'll talk to you when you get back at the first of the week. Okay, bye-bye.